Rovers take another trip to Yorkshire after a beating by Sheffield United on the weekend 3-0. We will be seeing some familiar faces there. Mark Hughes, the King of Ewood, Richie Smallwood, Harry Chapman, Jan Sanogo and Matty Platt. Can we progress in the EFL Cup and end this losing streak, or will it be 3 losses on the bounce for Blackburn Rovers? Let's have a look next. So guys, back once again with another match preview, and this time we are previewing Blackburn Rovers away day to Bradford City after smashing Hartlepool in the first round, 4-0. What seems like a lifetime ago after this last week, with 2 horrendous 3-0 losses on the road for Rovers. Away days have not been our friend since that amazing win against Swansea 3-0. So hopefully we can see more of Swansea against, on the road with another 3-0 win. That'd be brilliant, and not a 3-0 loss in terms of the other 2 away days we've had. So here are the managers coming into this game. A familiar face in Mark Hughes. Obviously spent a considerable amount of time at Blackburn in the Premier League in some of our better days in our history. Obviously he's had a little bit of a fall from grace, I guess some would say. I think a lot of people were surprised to see Mark Hughes go to a League 2 club last season. I feel like a lot of these sort of managers now, the managers that would be on the merry-go-round of constantly getting jobs in this kind of level at the Championship or in the Premier League even. Your Alan Pardew's, your Mark Hughes, your Tony Pulis's, all those sort of names are quite unfashionable now, and the more fashionable thing is, like Rovers have done, and appointed John Dale Thomason, a younger manager at 45, 13 years younger than Mark Hughes, and someone who is quite fresh to the game, fresh ideas, and probably not as outdated, I would say, as Mark Hughes' tactics are. Mark Hughes comes into this with a 1.39 points per match ratio, but his record against Rovers is 7 matches with 3 wins, 2 draws and 2 losses, and I was there for one of those losses, Blackburn versus Stoke in the FA Cup. A brilliant day, and one of the best memories I've had as a Rovers fan, turning over Stoke and Josh King with that hat-trick, and I remember the chants saying, "Hughesy, what's the score?" and whatnot to him whilst he was, managing a Premier League side in Stoke at the time. I don't think we've actually played against Mark Hughes since then. May have been in the Championship once since then, but I feel like he weren't at Stoke when we got promoted back to League One, and we obviously played him again. So, and John Dale Thomason comes into this with a 1.66 points per match ratio, which is gradually going down after the 2 3-0 losses that last week. Going into this, the most valuable players for each team: Ben Brereton Diaz valued at 14.4 million, someone who we will likely not see feature in this game. And Richie Smallwood, someone who we're all too familiar with, the King of Ewood, one of the bigger players from that League One promotion season, and he is valued at 450,000 after his stint at Hull, where he dropped down to League One, managed to become the captain there, get them back into the Championship at the first time of asking, much like he did at Rovers, coming in, got us promoted at the first time of asking. He was great that season, to say the least. Was the captain again last season for Hull, but they've moved him on, and he's probably too good for League 2, to be honest. He probably is a League 1 player at this point in his career, and he must have gone to Bradford for a reason, whether Hughes has sold him some sort of vision. Obviously, I believe he's the captain again. So, he probably is a big fish in a small pond, I would say, at Bradford at the minute, Richie Smallwood. Here is the comparisons between Blackburn and Bradford. Rovers some 10 times more in market value than Bradford City, but as was shown, Ben Brereton Diaz makes up 14.4 million of our 37.7 valuation. In terms of age, Rovers is a couple years younger on average than Bradford. Could that play into Bradford, potentially turning us over? It could well do. We are going to more than likely put the kids out again, like we did against Hartlepool, who did so well and showed the quality they have. But, if Bradford are going to put a strong team out, a Bradford side, which is one of the better sides for sure in League Two, they could be in for a shock, some of these kids. We have 2 national team players compared to Bradford's 0, 3 national youth players to Bradford's 1. We have 6 foreigners apiece. And in terms of the form coming into the game, Rovers have 67% form after 2 losses on the bounce, unfortunately. But we had 4 wins before that in the Cup and the League. And Bradford come into this with 58% form, not bad at all, coming off a win in their last game themselves. The teams have played each other 4 times since 2014, in which Rovers have won twice and Bradford have won once. The highest win for both teams being a 2-0 win. I believe that 2-0 win was in a pre-season friendly, last season's pre-season. I do remember that one. And Bradford have only actually scored 2 goals in those 4 games, and obviously all those 2 came in a pre-season win last year under Mowbray. The average goals per match in this fixture is 0.75 for Blackburn and 0.5 for Bradford, so not a high-scoring game from what history can tell us. Bradford City come into this game off the back of a 2-1 win away at Hartlepool, the team we actually beat in the first round of this cup. That is an indicator, obviously. I presume Hartlepool put a lot of their first teamers out that night. We obviously played the kids, like I mentioned, and we managed to turn them over 4-0. Obviously, we were at home, but Bradford only managed to get a 2-1 win away, albeit at Hartlepool. So they obviously did the business, but not quite as impressive, I would say, as we managed it. After that, before that rather, lost 1-0 away at Colchester, won 2-0 at home to Newport, 2-0 in the Cup against Hull City. Obviously a bit of a local clash there in Yorkshire. And also lost their first game of the season 3-2 to Barrow. So a bit of patchy form for Bradford. 3 wins in 5. And I did actually see Harry Chapman's goal. I believe it would have been against Newport. Brilliant goal. And I'm so happy to see Harry Chapman. It seems to be doing well at Bradford and has gone down a treat with the fans. I really rated Chapman, and I thought it was a shame what happened to him, so I'm glad he seems to have found a new lease of life at Bradford. Bradford's next 5 games after Blackburn are Crewe at home. In the Papa John's Trophy, they've got Sheffield Wednesday, it's just horrible to see Sheffield Wednesday being in that competition, just like Rovers were a few years ago. Bradford then have Walsall at home, Mansfield away, and then Tranmere away. This is Bradford's squad. Andy Cook actually scored 2 goals against Hull and is the top goal scorer in this competition so far, with 100% contribution with those 2 goals, obviously. A few familiar faces on here, as mentioned: Richie Smallwood, Harry Chapman, Janssen Ogo, and Matty Platt. So I presume Bradford are going to put a strong team out. They will have to if they're going to put up a fight against our second string team, you would think. And I'm sure they'll be well up for this game. Probably will be that sort of their biggest game of the season, obviously. If they get through this into the next round, then obviously, that will be their biggest game. But no, albeit Blackburn away is a big fixture. Blackburn at home, rather, is a big fixture for Bradford. going into this, Richie Smallwood does actually top the charts in terms of form. Again, like I said, probably too good for League Two level, to be honest. Andy Cook is also up there, someone who I do feel we need to kind of watch out for, I guess. If he managed to put 2 goals away against Hull, there's no reason he can't do it against Blackburn. Andy Cook leading the charge there with 5 goals to his name. Richie Smallwood's registered 1. Harry Chapman, as mentioned, a brilliant goal. But it seems like if we could maybe mark Cook out the game, Bradford will struggle at maybe scoring goals. 5 goals in just as many games for Cook is quite impressive. But obviously there's a few other goal scorers there, but it probably is Cook we need to be concerned about, judging by that. And there's a few players there with yellows to the name. No surprise Richie Smallwood has a yellow. Was always one for getting stuck in. And also they have a red card to their name in Harrott. This is the predicted lineup. Lewis in between the sticks. Halliday with Matty Platt at centre-back, ex-Rover. Critchlow, Rydehall, Smallwood, obviously the king of Ewood in the middle, with Gillyhead to his right. Angel, Chapman, another ex-Rover, and Banks. And then Cook just in front of him, the danger man. Every single one of Bradford's goals have been from open play. So obviously we need to make sure we keep on our toes in that respect. 42% has been from the right-hand side in terms of Bradford's attacks, 35% down the left, and 23% down the middle. So Teo Adun, it seems like he's going to have his work cut out in this game. He did really well against Hartlepool, but in West Brom and against Sheffield United on the weekend, I think he has been a bit questionable. So hopefully he can kind of regain his form from the Hartlepool game, the Swansea game, where he did so well, and deal with that right-hand side, which Chapman could very well be attacking him down. Obviously for Rovers, he was constantly on that right wing causing problems, especially in that League One season. In terms of action zones, 26% is in Bradford's own third, 43% in the middle third, and 30% in the opposition third. In terms of shot directions, 19% down the left, 13% down the right, which is surprising considering how much they attack down that side, and 67% down the middle. So it seems like it's going to be a case of whipping the ball in and trying to get it to Cook in the middle, with 67% of their shots coming from the middle. Obviously, maybe more traditional wingers, I would think, considering the shot directions are quite low from the left and the right-hand side. But Harry Chapman did score that goal from the left-hand side, which I saw, so could potentially be on the left for Bradford. I guess we'll have to see. In terms of shot zones, 33% outside of the box, 63% in the 18-yard box, and 4% in that 6-yard box, which I presume Cook's going to be lurking around, trying to nab a goal or two. In terms of Blackburn Rovers, we go into this off the back of 2 3-0 defeats in a row, and I'm really hoping the second string team can go out there on Tuesday, and really put in a performance and show JDT why maybe a few of them deserve to get in a team after 2 really poor results, especially the Reading one. Take their chance, go out there, show JDT what he's all about, and hopefully we don't go in with the kind of this vein of form, because it is a different second string 11 which we will be seeing. Albeit before that we had 4 wins on the bounce. We're now coming off the back of 2 losses in 2 games. After Bradford away, we have Stoke at home, which is going to be a massive game for the first team to bounce back from. Stoke in really poor form, and it's a game what's not going to be easy. Stoke did the business at Ewood last season, turned us over. So it's not a gimme by any means, but they're in really poor form right now. I'm sure O'Neill's going to have a lot of pressure on him, and maybe we're facing them at the right time when they are in such poor form. After that, we've then got Blackpool under the lights on Wednesday night on Sky. Going to be another tough game for Rovers there. Another fixture last season, which we did not win. We lost, just like we did against Stoke. And, that puts my emphasis more on the fact that, these are not easy games when I first looked at them. Even the game after that, Blackburn v Bristol, another game we lost at home last season. Then obviously Wigan away, a game which we always seem to lose. I can't remember the last time Blackburn won at Wigan, but I would presume it's at least been a decade or two. And then Blackburn home to Watford, who will be no slouches, and probably another game we have very little success in. So this first 2 months has been, baptism by fire really for JDT. Like I've just gone through, these games have been really, really tough games coming up, and even the games we've played so far. I know we beat QPR at home last season, but they're no slouches. Swansea away, we lost that last season. Never win that game, and we managed to. West Brom at home, another game we lost last season. Managed to beat them. Reading away, another game we lost last season. And Sheffield United away, another game we lost last season. So this is, as tough as it gets really, in terms of fixtures, in my opinion. There's been no easy games at all out of, the 2 months, the 10 games JDT is going to have in the league. There's no gimmies at all. So it's to find ourselves where we are currently at the minute, 4th in the league, has to be applauded if you ask me. These are currently the players JDT has at his disposal. I'm hoping we can maybe add 1 player before Bradford. Unlikely as that will be, and I'm hoping for sure if we don't get one added before Bradford, hopefully we have a centre-back in before Stoke City, because we cannot persist with this lunacy at the minute, having to play 17-year-olds for, a few games in a row and then putting a left-back at centre-back. At the end of the day, we're a championship club, and doing things like this is just really disheartening. Top performers going into this game, Scott Wharton, who is currently injured unfortunately, scored the opener in the game against Hartlepool and was then unfortunately subsequently injured. A player who shouldn't have been having to play in that game, and we're now paying the price unfortunately now that he is injured after that 45 minutes of football. Daniel Ayala has been really impressive this season. I doubt he will appear against Bradford, just simply because of his fitness issues he's had in the past. And many of these players, other than Ashley Phillips, I would think will be featuring in this game. Rovers go into this lacking goals somewhat, I would say. Obviously haven't scored in our past 2, and even before that, other than, we put 4 past Hartlepool in the Cup, and the brilliant game we had against Swansea, 3-0, struggled to score and really create chances in all the other games, to be honest with you, and even when we've just took them and we have been clinical, which has maybe caught up with us a little bit in the past 2 games where we haven't been able to really create chances, and when we haven't took them and haven't been as clinical. Our XG has perhaps caught up with us in that respect. Travis, 2 goals to his name, along with Ben, Brereton, Diaz, and Smodic with a goal, as well as Dak. Dak, who will feature in this game, I would think. Gallagher leads the charge with 3 yellows, which is quite surprising. Dak with 2. Buckley and Ayala. Ayala has 1, Buckley has 2. Other than Dak, I can't see any of those players featuring against Bradford. This is my predicted lineup. It's pretty much the same as last time, other than the fact I have put Pickering in at left centre-back, as we literally do not have any other centre-backs at our disposal other than Ayala, who is coming off the back of playing 2 games in a week and does not need to play another game at all. For someone who's as injury prone as he is, I would not want to take that risk, and I highly doubt JDT will. So it's going to be another centre-back performance for Pickering. I'm hoping we can, like I said, get someone in before then, hoping and praying that happens, but it unlikely will be the case, unfortunately. So it probably will be Pickering. Pears had a decent game against Hartlepool. He had very little to do, but towards the end, when he had questions asked of him, he was alert, and after having nothing to do, made the saves that were necessary. JRC had an alright game. Phillips, man of the match that day, but in my opinion wasn't the man of the match. Had a decent game and was classy and really handled a professional striker who was, just as big as him and didn't let him bully him. He was trying to, but he didn't let him. So fair play to him there, but has been exposed a bit, as to be expected, in a couple of the championship games he's had to feature in as a result of the lack of squad depth we have. Edun at left back, who has a point to prove after 2 poor performances, in my opinion, against West Brom and Sheffield United. Wharton and Morton back in the middle for me. Still lacking a more defensive, sound midfielder as a backup to Travis, but these two were brilliant the other night in Hartlepool and should control the game as a midfield too, like they did against Hartlepool. But we have no one with a bit of bite there if needs be. If Richie Smallwood and Core in that midfield start to run havoc, I can't see either of these sorting them out, to be honest. Dolan and Markande both got goals against Hartlepool, and hopefully we can see more of that. Dak also got a goal in that game, a real threat there with that those front 3, and then Vale just in front, who hasn't really took his chances in the league, unfortunately, and didn't against Hartlepool either. Was the worst player on the pitch that day for me. So hopefully a better performance from him. In terms of the goals for Blackburn Rovers, 4 of them have come from open play, 1 for a set piece and 1 from a counter-attack. I feel like we should have a few more counter-attacks there, to be honest, but so be it. 37% comes down from our left-hand side in terms of attacking, 42% down the right and 21% down the middle. That's obviously the case with us having inside forwards like Diaz, like Hedges, who really get us down the middle, get us down the opposition third rather. 36% of the ball is played in our own third, 44% of the action is in the middle third, and 20% in the opposition third, which isn't great to see, but like I mentioned, in those games where we won, we just kind of took our chances, really. Didn't pepper any teams really at all. Even Hartlepool, there weren't a lot of saves their keeper had to make. We just took our chances, really. But we did dominate that game completely. And hopefully we can do more of the same against Bradford. In terms of shot direction, 22% coming down the left, 19% coming down the right, and 59% through the middle. Diaz seeming to be having less shots now than obviously he did in the first few games, hence the 22% on the left. 48% of our shots are coming from outside the box now, 52% in the 18-yard box, and still 0% in the 6-yard box in terms of shots. Really struggling to create good kind of shot opportunities at the minute for Rovers. So hopefully we can sort that out. Coming into this game, Bradford, obviously in the League Cup. This is the home form and the away form for Rovers. So the home form for Bradford, there's a couple pre-season friendlies there which we won't take into account, but in terms of competitive games, Bradford drawing 0-0 at home to Doncaster, a win at home to Hull and a win at home to Newport. So in terms of their past 3 competitive games, they have won 2 and drawn 1, yet to lose at home this season in competitive games. So that doesn't make good reading if you are a Rovers fan. This is going to be a test for sure. It is, not Hartlepool. And the Bradford fans will come in their droves, I would think, for Bradford v Blackburn. Obviously, us being a historical side and a big side at this sort of level of the cup for sure, they probably couldn't have got a bigger side than Blackburn at this point, other than one of the Premier League sides. Coming into this for Blackburn, in terms of away games, in terms of competitive games, we are 1 win and 2 losses this season. So by all accounts, this should be a Bradford win, but obviously, our three games have been in the Championship away, whereas, obviously 2 of the 3 games for Bradford at home are in League 2. It's obviously different opposition, but beating Hull at home cannot be sniffed at. And then this is the recent form between the 2 sides, something I touched on earlier. Obviously that, 2-0 win in the pre-season game. But in terms of competitive fixtures between the 2, it's it reads 2 Rovers wins in that League 1 season. Dominic Samuel scoring in a 1-0 win away at Bradford. So the last game we have played away at Bradford competitively, we did win 1-0. And then at home, Bradley Dack and Craig Conway securing a 2-0 win against Bradford. So it is a 50% win ratio for Blackburn, a 25% draw ratio and a 25% win ratio for Blackburn versus Bradford. And then here is the Bradford at home statistics, which read 2-0 win in a pre-season friendly, a 1-0 loss, and then a 0-0 draw in a pre-season friendly. In terms of the statistics of the Cup so far, Ipswich top possession there. Blackburn come second with 67.4%. Hull had 61.5% against Bradford, so you would think we should be dominating the ball away at Bradford if the whole statistics are anything to go off, and obviously the fact we had 67.4 against Hartlepool. The yellows are there to be red. So are the Reds. Cardiff with the most shots per game, 25 shots Cardiff had in their first game in the Cup. Pass accuracy, Preston topping that one, 87.2, a lot of sideways and backwards there, I would imagine. And in terms of ratings, Blackburn second highest in terms of overall ratings with a 7.04 in the first round of the Cup. And I believe it was Exeter who completely smashed one team in that first game, if I remember right. And fair play to them. Here are the fixtures in the Cup coming up in this week. Walsall versus Charlton, Shrewsbury versus Burnley, Sheffield Wednesday versus Rochdale, Fleetwood v Everton, a big game for Fleetwood there for sure. Bolton versus Aston Villa, Crawley Town versus Fulham, another big game for Crawley. Watford versus MK Dons, Newport versus Portsmouth, Colchester versus Brentford, a big game for Colchester. Grimsby Town versus Notts Forest, another big game. Stockport versus Leicester, another big game. Cambridge United versus Southampton, another big game. Wolves versus Preston, that should be an interesting one. Norwich versus Bournemouth, a bit of a battle of your sides there, I guess you could say. Well, actually that's a bit harsh on Bournemouth. Oxford United versus Palace, a big game for Oxford there. Rotherham versus Morecambe. Barrow versus Lincoln City. Derby versus West Brom. Obviously, the match of the week, Bradford versus Blackburn, which should be an interesting game to say the least. Stevenage versus Peterborough. Gillingham versus Exeter. Forest Green Rovers versus Brighton, another big game there. Wickham versus Bristol City. Leeds United versus Barnsley, a bit of a Yorkshire clash there. And Tranmere versus Newcastle. So obviously the Premier League sides and the relegated sides from the Premier League last season have now come into the fold. Obviously the bottom so many from the Premier League last season, rather. Wolves being the highest place finish out of the Premier League sides there, I believe. Coming into this, as mentioned before, Cook with 2 goals for Bradford, 100% contribution in the competition for him, and leads the charts there. In terms of reds, there was 5 reds in the first round of the competition, what is surprising to see. That's quite a lot. Shots per game, Rochdale lead that one with Rodney. Assists, Bolton topped that one with Lee. And in terms of ratings, Forest Green Rovers Little got a 9.3 rating in the first game of the Cup. So well done, Little. Here's my prediction for the game after half an hour of keeping you here. I suspect this is going to be a really tough game for Rovers, but I'm hoping it is one we can pull through. Albeit, it could be a blessing in disguise, really, exiting the Cup with the frailties of the squad, which is there for all to see. Wharton getting injured in that first round of the Cup was not worth it at all. It's infuriating that we didn't have someone to be able to play that game. Albeit 2 late injuries, last-minute injuries to Barnes and Carter. There weren't much time at that point to get someone in, to be honest. But we shouldn't have been put in that position, and we've now lost one of our first team centre backs, and it has come to bite us in the arse, unfortunately, due to this competition. We are going to put a second string 11 out. The only first team player at risk would be Pickering. But Pickering, who hasn't impressed so far this season, so if he was to get injured, it wouldn't be too big of a concern. In the side which I think will be played anyway, and I highly think I reckon it will be that team. I would go out on a limb on saying it will be that team. A tough game for sure. It's not going to be like Hartlepool at home. These aren't going to be pushovers by any means, and this is, like I mentioned, going to be Bradford's biggest game of the season. So yeah, they're going to be up for it. Under the lights, there's going to be more than a few in there. Such a big stadium at Bradford, but I'm hoping we can do the business and come out with a 2-1 win, which would be a good win. Would send us into the next round of the Cup, which I would think we will probably exit in the third round if we were to get past it. I think our luck would run out and we'd probably maybe draw one of the big boys from the Prem, but I think that would be good for people to see us play one of the better sides in the Prem and hopefully give them a right good go. But yeah, hopefully no more injuries in this game. Hopefully it is the second string 11, which I think it will be. And let's hope we can get back on track after 2 really disappointing losses. Maybe bring a bit more positivity around Blackburn. And obviously the fan base if we were to go to Bradford and win, which can't be sniffed at if we do. And obviously if we were to lose 3 games in a row and going into that Stoke game, it would be quite negative, although the Cup is the Cup at the end of the day. Anything can happen in the Cup. So I don't think people can take too much if we were to lose. But here's hoping we win. Like I said, hopefully then we can get one of the big boys, because that is when the Liverpools, the Man Cities, the Uniteds all start to come into fray. Wouldn't you love United at Ewood or Old Trafford? Playing them right now with the vein of form they're in, you never know, eh? But yeah, guys, cheers for watching. Sorry for keeping you here for over half an hour, but if you watched more than a few of my videos on this channel, you know I love to waffle. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope, obviously, those of you stuck around can leave a like and obviously subscribe if you haven't. And leave some comments down below what you thought of the preview, what your score predictions are for this game. Any Bradford fans, maybe tell us what the predicted 11 will be for you, and obviously your own score predictions. Tell us what you're thinking about this game and, thinking about playing Rovers. But yeah, cheers for watching, guys, and I shall be back after the game with a vlog and also a post-match review of the events that transpired. So I'll see you later, guys.